Let's bring in Guy Benson. Great to have you. So the administration was out in force over the weekend. They're trying to make sure that they get their message out. Scott Bessent was there on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria. Let's listen to him here.
I think Americans are going to feel it in the first quarter, second quarter. I think 2026, thanks to President Trump's signature plans, is going to be a great year for working Americans, for the markets. You know, I call it parallel prosperity. Main Street and Wall Street can both do great, but I think Main Street's going to have a great year in 2026.
Okay, so he's consistent on that, and I think that he's pretty good at forecasting. Look at his career. But they do have an initial communications problem on their hands right now, Guy.
Yeah, and look, the thing is, Dana, a communications problem is something that White Houses deal with all the time. The Biden administration kept calling their reality problems a communications problem or a messaging problem. And ultimately, it was the results that were the issue there. So the Trump administration is going to have to provide and deliver those results for the American people. And clearly, they recognize that. I think it is sensible to give people like a 6-month timeline saying we think it's going to get better for these reasons. But the whole ball game for the midterms is going to be whether or not people agree and feel it in their own lives, 6-8 months from now, leading up to those elections. So President Trump looks like he's going to bring down some tariffs and therefore prices, which seems like something of an admission from the administration that these are related. Sometimes they have denied that. But I think we saw 2 weeks ago the Democrats used this issue to clobber Republicans, among others, to do well in those off-year elections. And it might be galling to some of us that the Democrats have already reclaimed the mantle of affordability, given the mess that they created under Biden. But politics ain't fair, Dana, and it's what the American people want and what they're experiencing in their lives, and it's the job of Republicans who got hired to fix it.
Yeah, I was telling Dana, I was traveling on Thursday. The airport was empty. And Kevin Hassett was on our program that morning. And he said GDP for this quarter is going to be off 1.5% because of the shutdown. And if you were walking through that airport, Guy, you would understand that. The level of commerce just fell through the floor. Now, they're going after the price of coffee and beef. That means tariffs. But I thought the one thing that Besson said really rings true. We're not going to tell the American people that they don't know how they're feeling. That's quite a contrast from where we were with inflation going up toward the end of the Biden administration, I would say.
Sure, and happy belated birthday, Bill. The thing is, we saw under the last team, first a prediction confidently that inflation wouldn't happen, then it hit and it bit, and they said, oh, it's transitory. Then they kept trying to insist, actually things are better than you realize, and why aren't you understanding the data? It really doesn't work in politics. Sometimes people can get frustrated who work in this town saying, well, we have a story to tell, and here are the stats that we think back it up, and sometimes they're cherry-picked, of course. Why aren't voters responding? You've got to have your words connect to their reality. Yeah. So I think learning from the mistakes of the last administration and not repeating them would be very wise.
Well, one of the things, too, is that the administration, they're going in many directions all at once because they want to get a lot done, which means that people are not able to really focus on the message. That turned around this weekend from a communications strategy standpoint. But also there's this coming up. It is possible that President Trump will meet with the new mayor or the mayor-elect of New York, Mamdani. He said this yesterday at the Palm Beach airport.
The mayor of New York, I will say, would like to meet with us and we'll work something out. But he would like to come to Washington and meet, and we'll work something out. We want to see everything work out well for New York.
So, I mean, that's at least an olive branch, maybe a chance for them to have some sort of working relationship, Guy.
Yeah, they took some pretty hard shots at each other during that campaign. I think there's probably some mutual mistrust at the very least. Trump has called Mamdani a communist. I happen to agree. But he has been elected mayor of the largest city in the country population-wise in this very important commerce center globally. So it makes sense for the president to have some sort of relationship with that person and vice versa. The question is, can they show up and play nice to some extent, or it will be potentially posturing from one side or the other coming out of the meeting, but maybe a little hint of a constructive relationship there. I would very much say let's wait and see on that one.
Yeah, if it happens, I'd be stunned.
Well, we have to make sure that they communicate
right.
for the safety of New Yorkers. Like, this is also a job.
Right.
It's not just like creating free grocery stores. You actually have to protect the city.
Yeah, I'm reading between the lines on this. I think Trump's ready for the fight. I think Mamdani's ready for the fight, too. So we shall see how that relationship goes. Guy, thank you.
Thanks, Guy.
Nice to see you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.